Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. So Prey is the prequel Predator story, set 300 years in the past. It's going to be featuring Comanche warriors. Predominantly, the lead is a female. We know all of this, right? I'm not here to sort of defend it or anything like that. I am here to take a look at some brand new production stills, which actually on face value do look really good. And also I want to just kind of break down an interview in SFX magazine with the director as well. And then just take a look and analyse the workmanship of the Predator suit. Because this, it actually does look really, really good. And I know that seemingly contradicts my opening statement of I'm not here to defend it. I'm not here to defend the film overall. I've said my piece on that. There's arguments for and against it. I have some positive elements with respect to the director, Dan Trachtenberg. He can handle strong females. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to convince anyone, and I'm not trying to. I understand people will have their own opinions on this. So I think first things first is to remind ourselves of a previous image which was revealed, I think it was by Empire magazine, of the Predator. As you can see here from the front, it looks cool. I'm not going to lie, I really like this design. Let me just move over here. I really like this design. I think this looks good. It's a lithe looking Predator, right? It is nowhere... I'll move it over here so I can sort of slide over here. It's nowhere as big or as bulky as the AVP Predators, and I like that. I think that's a much better approach to take with this Predator. But the reverse shot that we see now revealed in the SFX magazine is actually really good. It shows us the skin tone of this Predator as well. And there's a lot of homages to the original, and that's why I like it. I like the homage to the original. So let's take a look at that, which is here. Here it is. I'm going to blow it up so we can just take a look, and then we'll start to dissect the interview itself. But I thought we would lead with this before we get to the comments. So there's a few things to kind of dissect here. Just moving the mic, apologies for that. The Predator's dreadlocks, I like them. I like the way it looks. They're longer than the traditional style that we have seen before. But I like it. I think it works absolutely fine. Now, I'm just going to pan all the way down and then we'll go back up. So as you can see, the skin tone, the skin color, and again, the overall size and shape and the proportion of this Predator. Now, there have been some individuals that have said, well, the head is too small. It's less alien now. They've made it more humanoid. I mean, I disagree to a certain extent. I mean, even if we look at, you go out into a busy city street, you'll see people with big dumb heads in complete disproportion to their body. I don't think it's a given that every single Predator should have the same sized skull. I don't think it makes it look less alien having a slightly smaller skull. I just don't vibe with that logic. Now, one of the things I really like about this, so there's a few things to consider here. So over its right shoulder, right hand side of the picture, this is very original to the Jungle Hunter, the first Predator we've ever seen, right? This is it's almost like a backpack that the Predators have. It is a backpack, basically. It holds their med kit, and some various other things, generally speaking, will be in this. But it's predominantly the med kit that the Predator carries here over its right hand shoulder. Sometimes it'll be the left. I think it's dependent on where the plasma caster is, but I think by and large, I think they've always been over the right hand side. And the shape of this, the design work of this backpack, we don't know if this is going to be the medkit, of course. We haven't seen the film. I don't know. And there's been no leak for a script either. But the design is near identical to the original. It looks slightly different. Obviously, it's 300 years in the past, but it still looks as functional as as it does in the original. I really like it. Like, I like it. And I like that that's an homage to the original. I think it's an homage anyway. I don't see why it wouldn't be. It looks pretty much like, you know, like the original, but different. And I like it a lot. I really like it. Now, obviously, on the left-hand side is not a plasma caster, right? It's not a plasma caster. It almost looks like it's a sword. From what I can tell, it looks like a sword, which, if so, is really cool. If that's a sword, I think I'm gonna really appreciate the use of that. But the thing which confuses me to make me think that maybe it's not a sword is the circular point just above, well, essentially at what would be the hilt, you know, the handle to the hilt. There's a circular point which looks like it has like a form of rotation or articulation in there. So I don't know, but it does look like a sword. And I think that that's badass. I think that's really cool. And then we come down and we've got what I would believe, generally speaking, is just going to be the combi stick. Predator spear, cool, fine, love it. Why not? The gauntlets that the Predator has, we see them in another shot, which I'll show you in a moment, which I think are really cool. Like, I think that they look nice. It works. It's all very in keeping with what I would expect. And you know what? Like, it doesn't look like they are grafted onto the suit itself. You know, there looks enough to be a differentiation between the two, where it looks like they are attachments and adornments which the Predator would have. Now, interestingly enough, then we come to the design of the Predator itself. So, skin color, skin tone. Again, this is all very important stuff to dissect if we're looking at how they are trying to be in keeping with the original Predator design, or they're going way off the reservation like they have of late. It's interesting stuff to take a look at. You might not be interested in it. I definitely am, and for those that want to continue watching, this is what we'll be talking about now. So the yellowy sort of pigmentation on the arms with the flecks, the black flecks that sort of run through, very much original Predator design. Now, one which is not is the red, which runs down the spine almost. That's something which is not massively in keeping with the original, but it's different enough where there's subtle variations. Now, the director himself has said he comes from a different hemisphere of the planet, so he looks subtly different. I can agree that that would be subtle variations such as this skin tone. I think that works nicely. Now, also, if you look at its right hip on the rear, and then its left lat, so its latissimus dorsi, there appears to be scarring down it. So it's very clearly a seasoned warrior to some degree. And I like it. Like, I think that this is a really cool image. I really, really like the image. I think it's great. I think that Studio ADI have a history of very questionable Predator costumes, but I think that they've nailed this one. Obviously, we haven't seen it in action yet. We're looking just from stills, but I think by and large, from the stills, we can say they looks pretty fucking good, to be honest. But anyway, let's take a look at some of this interview. So the interview starts with, I quote, "I want to specifically say this because I think that there's been some confusion how people have understood. In my mind, this is not a prequel movie. This isn't. Let's tell the origin of the Predator. This is really something that's set prior to the original Predator movie, and the Predator creature in this one, this is its first time traveling to Earth." So this is where the breakdown in communication happened with the producers on the film, because the producers were like, yeah, this is the first time the Predators have ever appeared on Earth. So that doesn't look like that's the case. So that's cool. Fine, cool, clarification. It's not a prequel, but it is a prequel because it's just set before. I like that, cool. And I'm glad that it's not the origin of the Predator either, because I think that's fucking lame. Now they talk about the practical effects versus CG and the design overall. The design for me, though incredible, functionally, it's always been very top heavy, he says. It hasn't. I disagree, but he does say the head has always been so large to accommodate a person inside, especially when it was developed in the 80s. This is now the most refined, most proportional head to body ratio that's ever been. we actually were able to get the silhouette to be a little more anatomically correct. Frankly, it's the smallest, slimmest, I think, of the Predators, though still a hulking alien creature. I agree. Like, again, I've sort of made my case on that. I genuinely agree, and I think that that works nicely. Now, they talk about Amber Midthunder here, who plays Naru, and she talks about preparing for the role in Prey, learning the Comanche language, because there is actually a Comanche language version of this film that's going to be out there as well as an alternate version. Shooting the end of the film was kind of wild. We shot it for 3 days. We kept getting pieces of it at a certain time of night, and it was just the bigness of it. And it was so early on in our shoot. It was in the second week or something. I think originally it had been like the first thing we were going to shoot, which is insane. That felt like such a big thing to do. Doing that so early felt like one of the most ambitious undertakings. Interesting. Now, the producer Jane Myers mentions she has a cameo in the film. There's a scene where a woman is riding on a horse, and they're like, we don't have anybody to ride, and we need a woman. What are we going to do? I was sitting there, and I'm like, I'll do it. I put on a dress and everything. For me, that's memorable because my future grandchildren, my future great-grandchildren can go back someday, watch this movie and be like, that's our grandmother in this film. It just shows like our Comanche culture. We're always ready. We have these skills, and when they need to be used, we just use them. So for me, that was the most memorable moment. Cool, fine, no worries. Now let's start to take a look at some of the other images that were revealed as well. So we have this shot of Naru cradling what looks like some jewelry of one of her family members, I would imagine. That's all I can say to this. I like the bokeh effect in the background. It looks nice. It looks like it's shot quite nice. I've blown this picture up a little bit, so the distortion of some of the overall cinematography does occur a little bit whilst doing that. But I like this. Like I like the shot. This image is potentially one of the most interesting to me, I think. Personally, I mean, this is clearly the final fight. But it almost looks like it's snowing or a fire is going on. I like this. I like this image. Now, I know a lot of people will hate this image because it will show a woman facing off against a predator, and I get that. But as an image, like, you know, if we had seen more of the predator in this shot, this is like a poster-worthy image in my eyes. That's what it says to me. Like, I like this shot a lot. And it very clearly shows the predator getting ready to strike, as well as Naru as well. But I like the image. I like the cinematography. Again, the bokeh effect is very nicely done. What is chosen to be in focus is very nicely done. The lighting is very nicely done. It is a well-composed still. So I'm hoping that this scene will be well-composed as well. And then we have this shot here, which in fact kind of contradicts my previous statements on lighting and the effect work on that. This is quite a weird shot. So mid-range of the image, I don't know what's happened, whether she has some ash on her arm or something, but it's very grey, very washed out. And I don't know whether this was maybe because it was scanned in. Someone may have scanned this from SFX magazine, but there seems to even be a clear discernible line through the dog as well. I'm hoping that that's not part of the... yeah, I'm hoping that's not like in the film. It is like some weird lighting element. I think that's probably from a scanning job. But again, Naru has her dog friend in this film, and you know, it's always good to see a dog. Do love doggos. So good to see them as well. But there you have it, ladies and gents. Not much else to go into here. Just some new imagery. Again, you know, to me, the best one of this overall is this shot. I genuinely just think it's a cool shot. I really, really like this a lot. You know, it's a good shot. Good homage to the original. Let me know your thoughts. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, We of course have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.